Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to the channel. Today is a semi-random flight. It's not really random, actually. We're going to fly to the MacAir destination of the month. If you're not familiar with what that is, every month MacAir has a destination of the month, exactly what it sounds like. It's a destination that everybody or anybody who wants to participate tries to fly into. Then you submit the pilot report and you've made it to the destination of the month. And part of the reason I chose today to do it was really twofold. Number one, I wanted to fly this FlyByWire A320. We've flown it only a couple of times. I've flown it a few times, but on the channel we've only flown it I think once actually. So I wanted to get another flight in it. An absolutely beautiful sunrise going on in the background with those clouds and the sun, and there should be some weather on the way, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. Actually, I haven't really run into any weather in this sim per se, or not much anyway. And also, now I don't know if y'all know this, we're going to fly from Mobile, Alabama, and it's KBFM, which is Mobile Downtown, and the name apparently keeps changing. I didn't know this until I was looking for the best place to originate this flight, but they actually assemble A320s here in Mobile, Alabama. And so I thought, okay, this would be great. Most of the flights going in and out of our destination, which is KSWF, are Frontier Airlines. So I thought, fantastic. Let's do a delivery flight for a Frontier Airlines A320neo in the FlyByWire A320 from Mobile, Alabama up to KSWF, which is in New York. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I hope you'll enjoy the flight as much as I will. Let's climb up into the flight deck and get to work. Alright, welcome to the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen. As is my practice, we're going to take a quick look at our flight plan for the day. If I can get my stupid mouse to work, using Sim Toolkit Pro here, taking a look from Mobile downtown to New York Stewart International, KBFM to KSWF, air distance of just a skosh over 1,000 nautical miles. Should be a good flight. Looking at a estimated takeoff weight of 114,171 pounds, landing at 104,542. Our zero fuel weight is 99,591 pounds. Block fuel 15,088 pounds. Should work out pretty nice. We got a lot going on the route here. Caitlin, J37 to MGM, J4 to I have no idea what that's supposed to be, and so on and so forth. You can see the route there. We'll take a look at it in the they don't call it an FMC in here, they call it the FMS CDU. Yeah, it's that, you know, it's that old Boeing Airbus difference. Estimated to be out at 0130 Zulu. Yeah, not happening. I didn't even change the times on there. Just completely spaced on the times. I was like, I'm just going to pick a time in the sim that looks good for me. So here we are, bright and early for sunrise, and it's looking beautiful. There's only 8 packs on the aircraft, and that's, again, this is a delivery flight, so we got a couple folks from Airbus, and we got you know, a couple of folks from Frontier, you know, that sort of thing, right? So there's only 8 packs on the flight. Small payload, 1.8 thousand pounds, and again, zero fuel weight at 99.6. So there you have it. That's the basics of our flight plan for today. Alrighty, so we do have ACARS running already. The brakes are set, so ACARS is started, but it's not actually running yet. Hopefully you understand what I mean by that. We've already gone through our preliminary cockpit preparation flows and checklists, getting the external power on. The APU is not started yet. The ECAM's good to go. All of that stuff that takes place in that cockpit preparation, we've already taken care of that. Now, if you're not familiar with the FlyByWire A320, it's got some wonderful features in it. I mean, this is payware quality aircraft here for free. So if you don't have it, go to FlyByWire. I think it's .com. Just type in FlyByWire on Google. Excuse me, and or FlyByWire A320, and you'll find this no problem. So we've got our checklists over here. We're not quite ready for our before start checklist yet. We have done the cockpit preparation checklist. Again, remember, checklists are to check and make sure that you didn't miss anything crucial during the flows, and so we're good on all that. Now we do want to get our altitude set. Now we don't have a departure here. It's just straight out. We're going to be flying all the way up to flight level 390. Now if you're wondering why that thing's spinning up without my mouse being there. I do have knobs over here on my Honeycomb Bravo throttle quadrant, and I can use those to actually interact with stuff in the cockpit. And I didn't even have to do anything for this to work. It just worked. We're not actually setting our speed yet because we do need to finalize the flight plan in the FMS. So, imported from SimBrief, very simple. We've gone through this stuff before, that's why I'm not showing it on here right now. Performance initialization, put in your flap setting. I was going to try and use TopCat for this, not happening. It's just not even going to bother with that. So we just went with the kind of a almost default setting of flaps 1 and the trim at up 1.0. That's the format you need to put it in. So just keep that in mind. We're not using a flex temp on there. So for V speeds, we're just going to select these. It's going to give us the V speeds there. So rotate at 122 and then V2 at 126. And so we want to be 136 up here on the MCP. So let me, oh, no, it went into managed mode anyway. So we'll just leave it on managed mode. So when it's the dots and or the dashes and the dot there, that's in managed mode. That means it's going to manage it itself. I did pull the ATIS, but one of the great things on here is you can actually get your weather right here, and this is straight from the sim right now. So the pressure, this actually was spot on. Temperature, dew point, everything was exactly as it should be. Now I don't know if it updates or not. So something to keep in mind. You get your route in there. You can also link your Navigraph charts, all that good stuff with this. And we're not going to go into a bunch of details about that. If you're not familiar with this aircraft or somebody's interested in a full flight tutorial, it's something I might look at in the future. But keep in mind, this aircraft is still in constant development, and the guys over there at FlyByWire are doing an absolutely fantastic job with it. And I know I am very grateful, and I'm sure most of you are as well. So with all of that said, that's going to take us right up to our before start and pushback checklist. I'll be back here just momentarily and we'll move on with things. Alrighty, I got the APU up and running. I did that off screen. I can show that to you guys another time if you're interested in it. Just want to jump over here real quick to our tablet. We do have a few things hooked up here we want to take care of business. So ground power unit, we can detach that, maybe. Detach, there we go. That works out nicely. Let's take a quick look at this before start checklist. The parking brake is set right now. We'll take it off when it becomes necessary. Takeoff speeds and thrust. The windows are closed, and I believe we've got the beacon light on. And you do need to mark the checklist as complete, otherwise it'll stay yellow like that. Alright, let's set up our pushback here. And again, I'm going to just use this pushback toolbar. I like this thing quite a bit. Just taking a quick look at the charts. We're going to take runway 18. It's going to actually be a really long taxi for us. In fact, I'll just show you the taxi here really quick because we need to cover that anyway, and there is no departure briefing. So the ATIS is 135.575, ground on 21.7, tower or CTAF on 18.8. Unicom frequencies 22.95, departure on 18.5, and Houston Center on 27.65. There's our frequencies, good to go. So the X's here mean there's no, you can't go this way. Now I don't know if there's actually something over there or not, but you're not supposed to be going that way, so we're not going to. So we're going to have to push back, pull out over here, down to, I guess this is, that's a helipad. I don't think that's hotel, is it? I'm not 100% certain on that. I'm pretty sure that's a helipad. But either way, down here to Alpha, we'll hang a left, come down to Kilo, and then we'll have to back taxi on the runway and do a turnaround up here to line up for departure on runway 18. Obstacle clearance, we need adequate visual reference for runway 18. And runway visual ranges, all that. Everything's good. The weather's starting to go, but right now the visibility is fantastic. So there we go. That takes care of our taxi briefing, and there is no departure. As a reminder, and I'll say this every time until it changes, do not try to use the scroll feature to zoom out on this, because it's not going to work out for you. The little airplane thing will disappear and then you won't be able to use it anymore. So we need to go nose right, tail left. Scroll this over here. Now there are buildings and stuff right here, so we need it to be pretty much like right there. Hit enter, and then there's a truck there, so we're going to listen to him as we do the pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
He always says stand by. Let me shrink that down up there. So engine start, you're going to put the master switch on. This is going to go to the crank mode, and when you flip the master switch on, it starts the engine. As simple as that. Let's change our code here.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Yep, pushing back. Oh, I'm just looking at A cars, making sure it's pushing back. So we're going to start with engine number 2. Move this over to crank. Click that bad boy up. And let's put this on the engine page down here for you. And that should be it. And you can hear the engine starting up. So I'm going to go ahead and break away like I normally do. You guys give me the feedback down in the comments if you want to see the full engine start all the way through for both engines. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and break away. I'll come back once the engines are running and we've completed our pushback. Okay, my bad. I actually got it wrong on the engine start. It's supposed to go over here to ignition. I don't know why I thought to put it to crank, but it goes to ignition. So there it is. Both the engines are started now. Put that back to the normal mode here. Get up to a more usable view. Let's go ahead and arm the spoilers. Set the flaps. It's going to be flaps 1. The trim needs to be to 1 up, right? So here's your arrow right here. You can check that on here with the flight controls, if I can find which one it is. There it is, flight controls. See, it's at 0.9 right now. So we'll just a little more, put it at 1. Go ahead and do our flight controls check. Full left, full right, all the way up and all the way down. Rudder all the way to the left, never goes all the way to the left. My rudders are junk, but I don't have the money for new ones right now, so we're just gonna have to suck it up. There we go, and then engine page, and then we can go here, and if you click on the takeoff config, there you go. Look, auto brake needs to go to max. Put that on. That checks that off for you. Cabin check. This is actually where is it? Let's get the wing lights on while I'm up here. You're supposed to call them, so I think it's forward and aft. I think we just maybe we'll try just doing all, and let's see if that takes care of it. That did. So you have to click that to check the cabin, right? And then takeoff config test, which we already did. So not sure why that's still showing up there. Okay, let's take a look at our after start checklist here really quick. Okay, so we've got the anti-ice right here, wing anti-ice, engine anti-ice, right? So we don't need it on right now. It's not cold enough. We can put the probe heat and window heat on. Nothing wrong with that. And I think we're pretty much good to go here. Again, I don't fly Airbus very often, so just bear with me a little bit. ECAM status has been checked. Pitch trim is set to 1.0. Rudder trim is set to neutral. That takes care of the after start checklist. And then the before taxi checklist, we did check the flight controls. Flap setting is 1. And confirmed radar and predictive wind shear. That is on auto. Engine mode select is on normal right now, and ECAM memo to no blue. Now that is this guy down here, right? So to no blue, but for whatever reason the takeoff config test, it's not doing well. Now it does it. Okay, all right, we're good now. The predictive wind shear is this guy down here. In case you were wondering, that's where you find that button at. Okay, let's jump up to a usable view here. That is not a usable view, but that's better. I always feel like it's zoomed out really far in this aircraft, so we'll zoom it in just a wee little bit. There's the track IR on. Let's get the parking brakes off. And again, it is going to be a long taxi here. I am recording, so I'm going to start taxiing out here, and then as I normally do, I'll taxi here for a second, then we'll break away, and we'll come back on when we're holding short of the runway so that you guys don't have to sit here and... Alright, now I don't know why, but I have been getting lots of micro stutters, which I don't normally get with this aircraft. I don't know if it's because I'm using AIG traffic or what. Let me get track IR off for just a second here. But I'm definitely getting lots of micro stutters, so just something to keep in mind. I do apologize if we have to deal with them on our departure here, but let's take a look real quick here at our before takeoff checklist, or our lineup checklist. Takeoff runways, runway 18, that's been verified. TCAS is set. Packs 1 and 2 are both on. Those are good to go. And that takes care of that. So we'll go back to this page right here, jump back to a usable view, and track IR coming back on. Okay, so Airbus, a little bit different than Boeing. For those of you that are not familiar, the auto throttle is on all the time. So we're going to set it to climb mode. That's CL right there. And just let it stabilize. Once that's done, we'll release the brakes, go all the way to toga mode, and then we'll hold it there until it tells us to roll it back to climb mode. Pretty straightforward, simple stuff. I'm going to roll that back just one notch there. So let's get her up into climb mode. You should hear it click in. There we go. Just let them stabilize. We're going to get that warning. Release the brakes and toga. Ooh, that's a lot of thrust. Look at that. Oof. Holy guacamole, there's 80 knots already. V1 and rotate. It's like a rocket ship on this one, huh? Alright, positive rate of climb. Gear coming up. And we'll just get to our acceleration height here, and then we'll start making that left turn and get her on course. Ooh, those engines are cranking right now, aren't they? Nice. Not sure what the warning is, but we can bring the flaps up, and we're still manual toga. What is that saying? Nav TCAS standby. Did I not set it? Okay, we'll get that in a minute. Let's get this back to climb mode. There we go, that's where we want to be. Keeping an eye on things here. That sucker's climbing quick. Little nose down trim. Let's start making our turn here. Into the clouds we go. Yeah, we don't need a steep turn there, Captain Mac. Just a regular turn will do just fine. Thank you very much. I left my TCAS off or in standby. There it is right there. I could have sworn I put it in TARA. Clear that off. Oh, look at how beautiful that is, surfing up over those clouds. What a thing of beauty. Let's put this in managed mode. That's where we want to be. Let's go ahead and hit the autopilot here. See if it starts tracking. It should start tracking right away without any problem. Yeah, it looks like it's doing good here. Let me get the track IR off. Oh, that is gorgeous out there, guys. Okay, fantastic. Let's do a real quick after takeoff checklist here. We can unarm the spoilers. Flaps are up. Gear is up. We are in autopilot managed mode for both speed, heading, and altitude. We're into the climb. We're looking fantastic. That means, ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for some of that obligatory elevator music. Alrighty folks, so we are at cruise altitude here, but we're a long way from top of descent. I actually just wanted to jump in here and show you guys a couple things real fast, because as I'm becoming more familiar with this aircraft, I'm discovering more and more of the amazing things that FlyByWire is doing with it, and I just thought it'd be great to show you a couple of those things. So real fast, first I want to show you how to set altitude constraints. So come down here to your MCP, or not your MCP, your MCDU, FMS, whatever you want to call it. And what we're going to do, we're going to be cruising at 39,000, but for our arrival, which we'll brief in a while, at DPK we have a flight restriction, or an altitude restriction, of 19,000 feet, or flight level 190. So you can see I placed that in there, and then it's the same at MAD, and then you see at BRIS we're going to be at 12,000, but then at PWL it shows flight level 390 again. Well, that's not going to work out for us. Now, the way that this arrival and approach that we're looking at right now is going to be flown, we can put that at probably 10,000 would work just fine for me. There is no altitude constraint there. So what you're going to do to change your altitude constraint is you're going to click on the right line select key next to the waypoint, and then here's our altitude constraint and our speed constraint. So I'm going to put it at 10,000 feet. Click that in there, and then I'm going to put a speed constraint of 240 knots. Put that in there, and then that's it. It's done. So when I go back here, the only thing I don't like is that when I return, it goes back to the start of the flight plan list, so I have to scroll down again every time. But you can see we have both a speed and altitude constraint in there now. And then of course Teresa once again is at flight level 390. Well, that's not going to work for us, and we can descend as low as 6,000 there. I'm actually going to put it at 8,000 for the moment. Now keep in mind that ATC would be giving you your altitudes and your course and all of that, but I'm going to keep my speed at 240 just to make sure that there's no issues with that, so I'll put that in there. While I'm here, I just want to show you can also get the wind and temperature. So if you select that, it gives you the different flight levels here. I don't know why it's showing flight level at 050, that's 5,000 feet, 10,000 feet, and so on. But we can get an idea here, and then you can do a fresh wind request as well. Let's see if it'll do another one. It doesn't look like it's going to do it right now, but this gives us generally the wind there, so that's something to keep in mind. And then return once, return twice, and then there we go. That should show us at 8,000 feet. There we go, fantastic. Then we got our decel point there. You can see I have a custom waypoint in here now. On the custom waypoint, it didn't give me an opportunity to.
We'll be starting our in-flight meal service. Please look in your seat back for us.
I don't know why she's talking all of a sudden.
Stop by shortly for your order. If you'd like to order additional menu items, the flight attendant call button at any time.
I wish I could mute her right now. Anyway, that's PAC-X running in the background. I'll talk about that probably on our next flight. It's something I've had for a while, but I kind of forgot that I had it. But I got it running back there, and PAC-X is pretty great for some immersion, but we'll get to that another time. So for the custom waypoint, I'm going to show you how to make one of these here in just a second, but let me just change the altitude there. So for my custom waypoint, I'm looking over here at my approach chart because that's what I set it up for, and I want to be at probably 3,000 feet. It's going to probably work. Now again, you would get your altitude constraints at this point from ATC. You get them consistently from ATC anyway, but there you go. And then I'm going to put a speed constraint of 210 here, and you're going to see why here in just a second. I'm going to show you this. Alright, so scroll this bad boy down real quick, and I don't want this to take too long, but I definitely want to show you this. So there's our custom waypoint, 3,000 feet, and then you can see Manny is also 3,000 feet. The reason is because that custom waypoint is built off of Manny. Now let me just show you how to do that real quick. Get to a view where I can show you this. Put this on plan mode, and you can see here this is part of our arrival. It'll be PWL Teresa. I don't know how well you can read that. PWL Teresa custom, and then Manny. Now Manny is our initial approach fix for the approach, right? So this waypoint didn't exist. I had an option to go to IGN. You'll see this during the approach briefing. I had an option to go to IGN, which was like right here, and then come straight to Manny. I didn't like that, so I made a custom waypoint. Okay, so there's 3 ways of doing that, and I'm just going to show you what I think is probably the simplest method, because it's similar in fashion to how you do it in a Boeing aircraft. So first of all, you need to add a waypoint with a custom name. I wrote custom because there are no waypoints called custom. This one I'm going to call, let's call it short turn. And so what I'm hoping for is that there's no waypoint with that name, right? So I'm going to place it in front of Manny here, and it brings this up because it doesn't exist, right? So that's going to be the name of it because that's what I chose to name it. Now you can name it whatever you want, of course. Now there are 3 different ways you can do it in here. You can do a lat long, so if you know the lat long of the waypoint you want to create, you can put that in there in the proper format. You can do place, bearing, and distance, which is what we're going to do because that is similar to how it's done in Boeing. I'll show you that in a second. Then you can also do place bearing and place bearing. So this is referencing off of 2 different waypoints, which is not that difficult either, but we're not going to do that one right now because we got to pull up all of our charts and stuff to do that. So what I'm going to do, because I know the bearing and distance I want, my custom waypoint here is 10 nautical miles at 002 from Manny. So I'm going to make a similar waypoint, and this is just for your benefit. I don't need this one. So I'm going to go Manny, M-A-N-E-E / you got to follow this format, and then I'm going to go 5 nautical miles. I did that wrong. Not 5 nautical miles. 002. Well, you got to do place distance or place bearing distance. So 002, same bearing, and then 5 nautical miles. That's my format. Place that there. Okay. It's going to ask me which Manny I'm referencing off of. I'm referencing off of the one that's 745 nautical miles away, not the one that's 7,650 nautical miles away. Make sure you know which one you're going to reference. Place that there. Store it. And now there you go. You can see short T right there. Okay. And again, I didn't need that one. I just put that there for your benefit to show you how to do that. That's the only reason I came on here. Then I can just clear out the discontinuity here like that, and you can see now I've got a complete turn to short final there. Sound good? Also, you can delete those easy enough. Just clear it out. So I can clear out short T just like that, and then I can clear out the discontinuity in the same way. Hit clear, line select key, and that clears it out, no problem, and we're good to go. Alrighty folks, we are pushing towards our top of descent point here. I want to quickly go over our descent preparation. Just an FYI, I do have the ATIS tuned in for KSWF, but we're way too far out to get it right now. So, not 100% certain that the weather is going to hold with what we got, but we're going to assume it is for now and plan accordingly. So with that in mind, let us first discuss our arrival and our approach briefings. Bring those over here from Sim Toolkit Pro and using Navigraph charts. Alright, it is going to be the Hudson 4 arrival. It's the only arrival into this airport, and I believe it has to do with the other airports in the area, because we're over here. This is where we're landing. Right now we're planning for runway 9, which is headed this way. But we got to go up and around the airfield before we can get in there. So it is what it is. ATIS is 124.575, and as I'm looking at that, I think I said it wrong on there, so I'll have to check that when we get done here. We know the transition level is 18,000 feet. Okay, so we're going to come in down here at DPK. This is where that altitude restriction I was talking about is. Going to fly over DPK here up to MAD, or Madison VOR, bang a left there down to Briss, then over here to PWL, or the Pauling VOR, and then there's a little right turn here. Not really sure why it's set up that way, but that's the way the arrival's set up, so we're going to follow it out to Teresa, and then from there we've put in those custom waypoints. I did delete the second one because we didn't need it, but we've got the custom waypoint in there for making our transition over to the approach. So with that in mind, let's look at the approach itself. And as of right now, it's the ILS or localizer runway 9 approach. Zoom that in just a little for you. We already mentioned the ATIS New York approach on 32.75, Stewart Tower on 21.0, and ground on 21.9. Localizer frequency 110.1 with a final approach course of 92 degrees. Glide slope intercept at Loam at 2,096 feet. ILS refer to minimums. We'll take a look at that here in a moment. The weather actually seems to have cleared out nicely. Airport elevation is 491 feet with a touchdown zone elevation of 482 feet. Missed approach procedure, climb to 1,200 feet, then a climbing left turn to 3,000 feet direct to the IGN VOR, which is, this is an inset here, but the IGN VOR is actually over here, so sometimes you got to pay attention on the chart for that. But we'd go direct there. We've tuned that into our VOR1 on the FMC or MCDU. And then we hold there or as directed by ATC. And so if we go out there, if we don't get any directions to hold, then this is the holding pattern we would follow. Right hand turns, inbound course of 217 degrees. Now, we put our extra waypoint out here, 10 nautical miles. So if you just make a little arc, it's going to be like right around here, 10 nautical miles from Manny at 002 degrees. I did that because it's a 90-degree offset. So straight up here from Manny at 002 degrees, 10 nautical miles, will make a left turn into Manny, and then that's our initial approach fix, and then turn to 092 and on to our final approach fix from there. 2,100 feet is the glide slope intercept, essentially, so it's 2,096 feet, right? So 2,100 feet is what we're going to descend to. This is a procedure turn. We're not going to be following that. Instead, we're coming in out here at Manny. Should be a Cat 1 approach for us. No issues there. 200 feet for the decision altitude. There it is. Let's take a look down here at our MCDU and just make sure that we're set up for the approach in here. So just like for the departure, you just click on the airport there, and then you click arrival, and you can see we've already selected ILS 09 with the Hudson 4 arrival over here. Now there is no VIA for the ILS because I chose not to use one. IGN was a VIA, but if you recall from the approach chart, that was from IGN to Neely, and we want to go out to Manny first, so that would require an unnecessary turn out at Manny, and it just got all wacko. Nav radio here, you can put in both the identifier ISWF for the ILS and the frequency in here, and then put the course in. Notice it has an F on it. Last thing I want to talk about here, because it's already taking too long, so we've got our handy dandy little notebook over here. Some of you know what that reference is from, and some of you don't. I didn't know this, but if you right alt, oh, that's left alt, that's why. Right alt and click, you can actually pop this window out. So I could be over here doing stuff with this thing popped out, which is really cool. Now I will note that in their known issues, there are some issues with popping this out and then like going to an external view and stuff like that, so just don't even bother with that. Go to our calculation page real quick here, and we're going to try and manage the descent a little more. So we're targeted at 19,000 feet. That's our target altitude for DPK. So we need to start that at 63 nautical miles out. Now the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to scroll this down to 19,000 and 19,000. There you go. And 66 nautical miles out. Go to flight plan here. I love that you can pop that out. I don't usually use pop outs, but it is nice that you can do that. So 19,000 what we want to be at there at DPK. So about RBV is about 66 nautical miles out, or 62 it looks like. Yeah, so we're 60 nautical miles out now from DPK, so we can go ahead and start the descent. There you go, click on it, and there she goes. She's starting to. One last thing that we do want to do here, and it popped up as a message as well. Enter destination data. This is in the performance page, so it's going to be here in this one. Now the only catch with this is I don't know how accurate the information on here is at the moment, so it's possible it'll change. So 299.1 on the altimeter, and the wind is still 0 and 0, so that will be nice. So 299.1, and I was supposed to grab the temp while I was over there. So, and this is where, like, if you pop it up, that's super handy, right? Because then I can just stay down here and I can move this out of the way, and I can say, okay, 299.1, the temperature is what, 24? So we can go 24, and then the wind is just 0 and 0. Put those in there, bam. Now we've got our landing information. Altimeters are set. The MCDU is taken care of. Radio navigation is taken care of. Minimum safe altitudes, we've noted all of those. Approach and landing briefings are completed. Company messages, I'll look at those in a second. Descent checklist is complete, and I will be back here in a few minutes when we are on the approach. Alrighty folks, change of plans here. So I could not pick up a text version of the ATIS early, and so I did finally pick up the ATIS from the radio, and it is not what it shows on our little EFB over there. The ATIS is saying that the wind is 134 at 4, altimeter 2987, and we're using runway 27. So the problem, of course, with that is we were set up for runway 09. That's not going to work for us anymore. So we're descending right now towards PWL, and we have changed the approach. I've already done everything in there because there's not enough time to go through it on here, but I do want to brief it really quick so you see what we're doing here. ATIS remains the same. Approach, Stewart, tower, ground, all the same. Localizer frequency is 109.95 with the final approach course of 272 degrees. Glide slope intercept now is at 2500 at Papau. And ILS decision altitude is 250 feet. I do need to change that. Airport elevation is still 491 feet. Touchdown zone elevation is 469 feet. Missed approach, we're going to climb to 1600, then a climbing right turn to 3000 to the same IGN VOR. So shouldn't have any issues there. We've already passed transition altitude. Now we're going to go to Teresa, which is like right up here. We're going to make a really, it's a hard tight turn, but I did that just to buy me a little extra descent time. And then we'll come down here to IGN and then on to the approach from there. We're shooting for 3000 at Molney. We have to be at 2500 before we reach pop-out. We should have PAPI lights on the left hand side according to this, and ILS decision altitude is 250 feet. So let's see if we can get that in there. I do know that we do it down here. It's probably on this page, the approach page. Yeah, so 250 feet. See, I did remember. Fantastic. Okay, so 250 feet is going to be our minimums, and we can change the wind here as well. So it's 29er. Okay, yeah, 29er87. Remember now, I pulled these numbers earlier, and then the wind is 134 at 4. And that's going to help our calculations a little bit. It didn't change our speed or anything. So here's the catch, right? So this is where it gets a little tricky. We're coming up on 10,000 feet here. And we need to continue our descent. At PWL 10,000, at Teresa we want to be at 8,000. They're going to keep talking. So let me just pop this. Let's just go over to this here real quick. So you can use your descent calculator is what you can do. So we want to go to 8,000 feet now. From 10,000 it's going to tell us how far out, right? 8 nautical miles out is when we need to do it. Back down here, so at 8 nautical miles from Teresa, so just after we cross PWL, we're going to want to take care of that. And you can see there's a lot going on now. We need to get landing lights on. We can put this to takeoff lights, and then you'll see here the reason for the engines spooling up is because we're hitting 10,000 feet now. So at 8 nautical miles from Teresa, we're going to want to start our descent again, right? So then after that, if we look down here, we want to be 5,000 at IGN, right? So we can put that in here now because this will update on the fly, all right? So as of right now, it would be 16 nautical miles, but that's not actually going to be accurate for us. So we're holding 10,000 right now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to fly this. I may talk here and there, which means you may see the video just skip forward a little bit, but I'm not going to make you just sit here and watch nothing going on. All right. So we need to be 5,000 at IGN. Oh yeah, that's why I got to wait, because I need to know how far out before I descend to IGN. You can see it's at 11 right now. Okay, we're starting that descent right now, and then the next one's going to be down to 3,000 at IGN. Alright, so you can see we're making our turn to final here. Let's go ahead and hit the approach, or the localizer switch, not the approach switch. It grabbed the localizer immediately, so we can go ahead and arm the approach now. We've got our LS mode turned on, so that's going to track in over here on our, it just makes sure that we have our diamond and stuff visible. If you turn that off, you'll see diamond is gone. I just learned that, believe it or not. Let's go ahead and crank that down one. I'm going to leave this on the map mode the same as it is right there. Let's go ahead and get that first setting of flaps out. And I think we can put this back to managed mode now. There we go. See what it does. Yeah, first setting of flaps is coming out. Let's go ahead and arm the spoilers here. There we go. And flaps 2. We're just about to 2,500 feet here, so we're looking good actually. Everything's coming together really smooth. Despite all the busyness and the fact that I'm doing the job of 2 pilots in here, it came together really, really nicely. So So the approach is armed. There's 2,500 feet right there. Radio, not altimeter. Speed's coming down nicely. And we're looking for 121 is going to be our V approach speed. You can see the diamond is moving down here. Now I can just make out the runway ahead of us there. So we're looking good. It's going to be a nice approach. Everything's looking clean. As soon as we intercept the glide slope, we'll go ahead and drop the landing gear. We'll set our go-around altitude, and we should be good to go. And there's the glide slope intercept right there. So we'll set this to 3,000 because I tend to forget to do that. Let's go ahead and drop the landing gear. Waiting for that to deploy all the way. Speed continues to come down nicely. Next setting of flaps. That puts us at flaps 3 and flaps full. Alright, let's take a look at our approach checklist over here. This isn't the best way to do it from track IR, but there you go. Barrel ref is set. Seatbelts, did I turn seatbelt sign back on? I don't think I did. See, yeah, seatbelt sign is on. Fantastic. Minimums are set. Auto brake, we've got 11,000 feet of runway. I'm not using auto brake. Engine mode select. I'm going to leave it in normal. And our landing checklist then, ECAM memo, landing no blue. Cabin check. It's this one. There we go, landing no blue. Checked. And clear that one out. Go back to that page. And we are good to go. Alright. Runway is in sight. We're in managed speed mode. Everything is good. Let's go ahead and take the autopilot off. Oh, it went back on. My bad. So, auto throttle is just continuous with this thing. So, sending just a wee bit there. We don't want that. Gonna hold it on that glide slope there. She's a little squirrely, but it's not bad. You gotta kind of put it where you want it and then hold it there for a second. That's sort of how the fly-by-wire works on this.
1,000.
Send just a hair quicker, just a tiny bit above the glide slope. A little bit of crosswind off the right. We knew that was coming. Now we're looking good. We're visual at this point. I got an itchy eyeball here. Let's see who notices that in the comments. So auto throttle's all the way in, and then at 20 feet it'll tell you to retard. It's not calling you a retard, it's saying retard the throttles, and pulling the throttles to 0 will automatically disconnect the auto throttle. Looks like VASI lights on the left hand side there instead of PAPI lights.
100 above.
A little bit of an updraft there. Oh, that got choppy all of a sudden, didn't it?
Minimum.
Continue.
200.
Looking good.
100.
Little hair low at the end there.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
Oh, minus 136 feet per minute. That was beautiful. I get my reverse thrust? I sure am. Going to manual braking here. Nice. Let's take this high-speed exit right here. Oh, that was beautiful, folks. Nice and
Ladies
smooth.
and gentlemen, welcome to New York. The local time is 8:20 a.m. and it's currently about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember to use caution when opening the overhead bins, as items may have been shifted during the flight. We thank you for flying with us.
Alright, I'm going to continue to taxi in here, and then I will come back on as I normally do. Not sure what the choppiness was at the last minute there, but it didn't affect us too terribly bad. So take this all the way in. We'll get her parked in front of the terminal, and we'll come back on and shut everything down. We'll call this arrival at the destination of the month done and dusted. And stop. Alright, not too shabby there. Let's go ahead and get that parking brake on. Bam, let's get the track IR off. There's that, and then we should be able to connect the jetway with this guy right here. Let's see if that works out. Ground services, where's it at? Jet bridge, and then forward door is automatic. So that was the wrong button there. We do have the APU running. Let's get the seatbelt sign off. We should hear some announcements. Yep, it was because the engines were still running. I don't know if that's because I've got it's like set to auto on here or something like that. But either way, let's go ahead and get the ground power unit over here, open the cargo door, open the baggage truck. Those are good to go. We're not going to bring the fuel truck over quite yet, but now with ground power available, we can jump up top here. I don't know why all my views do that. After a while, they're like offset just a little bit. Turn the external power on. With that running, we can turn the APU bleed off, master switch off. All of the fuel pumps can come off. Off, and off. And also the nav logo lights can go off, and the beacon light can go off, and the wing lights can go on. I think nav and logo stay on one, and then, well, you can only do one on here. Okay, that takes care of the lights. Take a quick look at our I did the after landing checklist. You know what I didn't? Turn the predictive wind shear off. I told you guys that one was right down here. Bam, there it is. You can set your checklist to auto too, where when you do it, it automatically checks it off for you. We need our parking checklist. Parking brake or chocks. I think it sets the chocks for you. Yeah, safety cones and wheel chocks are in place. So that's actually pretty handy. So that's good. Engines are off, wing lights are off, fuel pumps are off. That takes care of our parking checklist. And then we're not going to do the securing the aircraft because we're going to call it good right here and have it ready for another flight. And that means that's going to wrap it up for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Now you may notice they're actually loading baggage, not taking baggage off. I have no idea why. They should be taking baggage off the aircraft. But either way, it looks fantastic. Let me tell you, this airplane is just a thing of beauty. I love this airplane. They're doing such an amazing job. I was never a big Airbus fan before, even though there were some great renditions out there. I think it's because these guys have released this for free. And, you know, just bravo to you guys over at FlyByWire Sims. You're just doing an amazing job. It's fantastic. And that's it, folks. I hope that you enjoyed the flight. I had a good time with it. I do want to note in closing here that this is the home airport of our Chief Operations Officer. That is Joe. You guys have met him before. He flew the last unusual, difficult, and dangerous approach with me into Compton. I think that's how you say it. Amazing guy, great friend, love him to death, and we are flying. I can't talk. We're flying to his home airport for the destination of the month this month. So, Joe, this one's for you, buddy. That's it. That's all, and no more, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, as always, keep the blue side up, unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all, and have an absolutely wonderful day.